soon, I guess.
So, can I ask you a political question or two?
Yeah, why not?
Well, Canada is hypothetically engaging in this soul searching process, this reconciliation process. And I'm kind of curious about, I mean, there's parts of it that I'm really not I don't feel good about. Like, for example, now, before most ceremonies, before most public events in Eastern Canada, there is a statement about the land that the people this land once belonged to. And I don't like that because it seems hypocritical to me and not real. And I think it's showy and false. And well, that might just be me, but I'm pretty curious about, you're looking at this from a completely different perspective than me. And like, what do you think about this reconciliation effort? And has it been helpful to you and to people you know? And is it real? And
Okay, Jordan, I need to ask you something. This has been on my mind for a while, and I wanted to ask you that quite a while ago, but what does that mean, reconciliation? What does that, in my mind, that means two parties that are saying they did something wrong and trying to fix it. That's what my thoughts, what reconciliation means, but that's why I don't agree with it. Because we're not the ones in the fault. They are. So that's
so
what
listen, I'm going to tell you a story, Charles, okay?
Okay.
I want to tell you a story. This is a story that a friend of mine who committed suicide wrote. He lived up in high prairie, high level. I think it was high level in Alberta. And there were a lot of native kids there. And he was probably around 10 or so. And he used to get beat up fairly regularly and was often by the native kids. And he wouldn't fight back. And the reason he wouldn't fight back was because he felt guilty. And that guilt about, I don't know, it's the horrible hand of history, I suppose, Charles. That guilt, that eventually ate him up and killed him. Now, he had other problems, but...
Okay, so where did his guilt come from?
Well, he felt that he was an interloper and he was an occupier and he didn't have the right to fight back, and so he wouldn't fight back. And, then he decided when he was a teenager that anything he did that was sort of masculine and achievement-oriented and ambitious was wrong because it was associated with all this historical cruelty. And so he just stopped himself from doing anything, and it killed him. It's not that uncommon, and I've been thinking about this a lot. You look into the history of mankind, and it's pretty damn bleak, There's a lot of horror in the past, a lot of bloodshed, a lot of warfare, a lot of cruelty, a lot of malevolence, and we all have to contend with that. And for me, that you asked about reconciliation, for me, it's getting to know you. I had some native friends when I grew up. It was hard. There was a big gap.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. I'll remember this, man. So I had this friend, off and on friend. He was a native guy. His name was Dennis Helly. I think Dennis is still alive. And we kind of had a friendship in grade 6. And he was a big, rough kid. And I was a bit afraid of him. But he was a good guy, good-looking kid. And he was smart. And we were trying to have a friendship, and I'd invited him to go to the movie with me that night. And then we were sitting in class, and my dad was teaching the class, and Dennis was chewing gum. And my dad said, "Dennis, stop chewing that gum. You sound like a cow." And I said, "Dennis the cow, ha, ha, ha." And then he looked at me, and he meant, you're dead after school. And so I was terrified the whole damn day. And after school, I zipped out by where the bikes were. And Dennis came after me. And I was sort of running around the bikes and trying to stay away from him. And I sort of hid behind this, I don't know what it was. There was some structure there. And he was on the other side of it. And I said, "Dennis, we could stop fighting. I'd still like to go to the movie with you tonight." And he broke into tears and ran home. Yeah. So reconciliation, that's a hard thing, eh?
Yeah,
And maybe that's kind of what you and I are doing.
I think so. But what I wanted to know
That's
was,
not easy, you know,
no,
because there's a lot of bad blood and there's a lot of horror, and none of us really know how to do it. You know, we come from very different places and we don't know how to make that work. It's not a simple thing.
or why it happened. You know, why are we so separated? And then the greatest thing is now we're together. Not
Yeah,
just
well, that's something, isn't it? And the totem pole's in Montreal, and
not
that's
just
something too.
we're not just friends, we're family.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I mean about the greatest thing for me is how we reconnect is right, and how you and I met and why. You
You know,
know,
I think a lot of this sort of thing has to be done at the individual level, you know.
and then what I love about it is that we're still connected, we're still growing.
Yeah, we're doing our best, man.
Yeah, and I love that. And it makes me feel good that I'm part of that.
Yeah, me too. It's really been something, Charles. All these things that we've been through. It was hard. You know, I've been sick for about 3 years now, and I haven't talked to you much. Didn't have the stamina for it. You know, I was pretty isolated myself from pretty much everybody except my immediate family. But we've been on some great adventures, you and me. That potlatch was really something. That ceremony, you know, when you and your guys came, and your wife too, your whole family came to my house to do the ceremony to open the 3rd floor. That was the same day. So that was when I was inducted into your family. And, you know, people have made fun of that and said that I was lying. And, well, it's not a lie.
No.
And that was the same day that I was being accused of being a bigot and a racist at the university. It was the same goddamn day, the same day the debate, there was a big debate there when everything blew up around me. So I went from this debate where, you know, I was basically being accused of being a racist and a bigot to this ceremony in my house where I was inducted into your family. It was a pretty damn weird day, I can tell you that.
Okay, when we've got to change that word, abducted. When we had chose our family, had a meeting, and we had a meeting with all of my Joseph family and some hereditary chiefs about adopting you and your family into our family in the ceremony house. And then the chiefs had asked me what was the reason for doing that. And I explained to them how we met and how long I've been friends with you and your wife and kids. And then the importance of hanging on to that friendship and the importance of what I was not just sharing with you, but also learning from you and your family. And what it was that I really was yawning for was that living in a happy, positive way that you guys lived in, and I wanted some of that. I was hungry for it, so I wanted to inhale all I could from you guys and learn from it. And it makes me feel really good to be part of that, because who would have thought that I would understand those feelings, but I do. And it's an awesome feeling to have, is being able to have positiveness in your feelings, even if it's just for a moment, you know?
Yeah, I know. Charles, I'm going to say goodbye for today.
Hey, Jordan, it's been awesome talking with you. It's good to see you, bro, and you keep up the good work.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you produce in your dreams for my new house.